guys, it's Mia.
And Juju.
And welcome to
It's Our Time Podcast. Last week we talked to Haley Zeiss, which is her now coach for Pine Richland basketball.
Yep.
And it was really nice to see her advice that she gave us with being a former D1 coach and then a high school coach and just comparing the two.
Yeah. It was also so funny in full court press when she literally had the bug on her shoulder and she started freaking
she have
out.
a bug on you, actually.
I know, you were so calm about it and she was like
No, because
freaking out.
internally I'm freaking out because stink bugs are my worst fear, like worst insect. I hate
those
them so
and
much.
lantern flies are
like, why do they
little
look
less,
like that?
but, like, they're just so annoying.
Oh.
There's a stink bug in my room. I literally had a card and I put it in the card and just crashed it. I like crushed it. It was so gross.
Like the sound and like the feeling of the that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
We're the women of the world. We're basketball girls. We're the women of the world. We're basketball girls. What time is it? I said, what time is it? Yeah, what time is it? I said, what time is it? It's our time. We're the women of the world.
We have another very special guest who I'm very close with today. He is the head coach of the Pine Richland football team, and it is my father, Jon LeDonne.
Yes. Come on
in. The walk-in is crazy. Okay, so you're the head coach for the now undefeated Pine Richland Rams team. So coaching at Pine Richland, do you feel any pressure, or now being undefeated, is there any pressure being applied, and how do you deal with it?
I really don't consider it pressure. It's just an expectation. As Coach Tallman always says, a standard of excellence. We just want to go out each week, compete against the best, and give it all that we can give. We got an excellent coaching staff that prepares the players each week, and I think that we have the players to accomplish our ultimate goal of winning a championship.
Yeah, I definitely think it's different from a coach's standpoint than from a player standpoint, because I feel like as a player, especially as a young athlete, there's a little bit of pressure put on when you are that undefeated team and everyone's out to beat you.
There's always a target on your back.
And there's always like those people in the newspaper like who are like, oh, this person's going to beat this person and they're not going to be undefeated anymore. So I think as a player, it's a little bit different. But
and they also they try and not degrade, but like point out everything that's maybe wrong with the team. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, they're really not that good. They just haven't played some good competition.
Yeah, or like, oh, they have a quarterback, but they don't have a wide receiver. So what are you going to do without a wide receiver? But like, obviously you're finding ways to manage it and make it work. I mean, undefeated right now, playoff.
They're undefeated for a reason.
Gonna happen. Hopefully, but yeah.
Since you guys are undefeated this season, you constantly have a target on your back. Do you feel that pressure always, or do you just always think like next game and everyone in Pine Richland loves you and everyone that's not in Pine Richland hates you? So how do you like respond to that?
That's kind of how it is with success. There's a lot of haters on the outside that are more jealous of your success, but we focus on the people in that locker room, just getting better each day. A lot of times in practice, we're going good on good with 1-versus-1's offense and defense to continue to get better. We know sometimes we may not have the most quality of competition, but we want to focus on ourselves. A couple of times this year in certain games, there was self-inflicted wounds. So there's always room for improvement and room to get better.
Yeah, and obviously, like JuJus said, if you're in Pine, everyone loves you, but if you're out of Pine, everyone hates you. There's a lot of stuff going right now, obviously, with all this football. Upper St. Clair is obviously undefeated. There's teams like Peters, South Fayette, Bethel, a lot of undefeated teams, or not anymore, but how do you deal with like all that outside noise, like from all those people that aren't in Pine? Like, I'm sure there's papers about it all the time, all these article writers, and everyone's kind of rooting against Pine.
Yeah, it's a thing when you establish a program and have the success that we've had over the last 15 plus years. There's always a target on your back, and there's jealousy. And there's always the thought that, they're not going to be as good this year as they were last year. But, we live by the motto, we don't rebuild, we just reload. Yep. We focus on coaching our younger athletes in practice the same way we coach our varsity athletes. Yeah. So when their time comes, they're ready to answer the call.
Yeah, going back on that rebuilding, I know we talked about this with Haley. Your first year at Pine, you won a state championship, which is very impressive, obviously. Because everyone was kind of counting you out. Like, you were just new coach. The stuff that went down at Pine was not a very good it was a lot of conflict, not a good topic to speak on. So I think coming into that and having a state championship team, now you have a little bit more, I would say, not pressure, but like that higher expectation, the higher standard of always winning, which is something that Pine is known for in football for years.
And it's kind of,
They've
I feel
always
like it's
been-
kind of expected too, because they're good. The one state, they're undefeated, should win.
Yeah, we came in from our Penn Hills tenure, had them won a championship there, and we come to Pine where expectations are high. And I think we were 1-3 the first 4 games, and everyone's like, what's going on? The program's done. It's over with.
My mom would always say, I think people are going to burn down our house. Like, the Pine people hated us at that point, I swear. It was like, oh my gosh. We were 1-3, and it was bad. But
we made some changes, and a guy by the name of Ryan Palmieri took over the offense for us, and the rest is history.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
There's more to life than basketball, but why would that stop us from giving our
Now it's time for our favorite part of the podcast,
Full
Court Press.
So this is a game where we just fire questions at you, and you have to answer within seconds, or you have to eat these olives. So,
Good luck.
yeah. All right, let's start.
Do you want to answer? You go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Okay. Who's your favorite child?
Marco.
Oh my god.
Does Mia's mom yell at her too much?
No.
What do you like watching better, football or basketball?
Football.
What's one thing you can't stand from your players as a coach?
Talking back.
Which kid would you take on a stranded island with you?
McKenna.
Bruh.
Women's sports or men's sports?
Men's sports.
Who's the best football player you ever coached?
Ryan Palmieri.
Brian Palmieri.
Okay. Steph or LeBron?
LeBron.
Which kid do you like to watch play sports the most?
McKenna.
Which brother do you like the most?
Justin.
Oh my god. Who is more competitive, you or Maggie?
Me.
No way.
Would you rather spend time with Maggie or your children?
Maggie.
he won the challenge, basically.
He answered all the questions. He's so mean.
0 olives.
That's the first time. That's first
He
time.
didn't say me for anything. He did that on
Dang,
purpose,
he
I
must,
swear.
yeah, he must
You're
not
too
like
selfish. You're too selfish.
I'm not selfish.
It's
You're
all
selfish.
about- It's all about everybody else, and McKenna has a huge heart.
Oh, okay.
you. Okay, well,
All right,
I guess
well-
we can't rate your experience because you didn't try one.
Yeah, there's no olives down. Well,
That's sad.
that's kind of rigged. He should have to play again at some point.
See, they know
No,
if
round
me and
2.
Maggie are going away, Maggie's taking them, so we all go together.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
All right, that's all we have for
Full Court Press.
And we are no olives down today, but it's all right. We'll get them next week.
Yep.
Yikes. Okay, so the past couple years, I feel like Pine has had like a lot of baggage. So what is one thing that you would say is like a hassle, or like is it like a constant pulling or tugging on you that you have to worry about?
I think sometimes the expectation of Pine Richland, just in the community, we have a lot of successful parents, doctors, lawyers, attorneys, and things like that.
Yeah.
That they also expect their kids to be very successful, and sometimes kids aren't maybe as athletically gifted as other kids, but those parents still expect their players to play just as much. And we live by a philosophy of varsity football. We're playing to win football games. JV on down, we're going to develop players. But sometimes there's those hard conversations with parents to say, hey, you got a great kid. He's a great teammate, a great player, but he's just not good enough to get on a varsity football field. We look at opportunities to get them in where we can on special teams and things like that. But the brotherhood and the memories that they create, those are the things they're going to remember.
Yeah, that's something that definitely happens in basketball too. Like people's parents, you don't, as a player, I still know that like people's parents are complaining because their kid's not playing, but like there's honestly different levels. Like there's 5 people on a basketball court at one time, but there's still different levels. Like you could have a top player and you could have a player who's kind of just on there as a decoy almost. So there's like always that level, and there's always those players who aren't playing as much whose parents are, you can tell when their parents have a problem, and it's like, oh my god,
They're
just get over
constantly
it.
talking to the coach. Like, I remember, I'm not going to name names, but there was someone last year, she had her mom go and talk to the coach about playing time. And the coach specifically says in like the contract, don't talk to me about playing
The
time
contract.
because you're only so good. Like, if your coach, like, yeah, you can have as many conversations with him, but like, you need to prove to him why you just belong on the like court.
My dad always tells me, especially because he is a coach, like he hates when parents call him. Like as an athlete, for me, I always have to, my parents never go to my coach, doesn't matter if it's about playing time, questions on what's going on, and the program, I always go to my coach.
Never the parents.
Yeah,
Never.
because my dad's like, he hates when people come to him. So
You want to like advocate for
players-
yourself.
Yeah.
Don't have your mommy or daddy just going and running to the coach. It's your problem. It's your sport that you're playing.
Yeah.
So you should be the one to advocate for yourself. And all of your years of coaching high school football, have you had any like horror stories with parents?
Yeah. So parents, parents always have their kids' best interests in mind, but they're focused on one individual, where I'm collectively worried about a whole group. So in my early days as a head coach at Shaler, it was rough sledding. We won 2 games in 3 years. But that first year we went 0-10, and there was a parent that would call every day almost complaining about the team, how bad football was, his kids shouldn't be playing, calling the school.
Literally
quit.
Oh my gosh.
The second year we won that first game, I get that call on Saturday, how great of a coach we are, how great
The
football
switch up is
the
crazy.
kids are all in, they can miss schoolwork, they're going to be there for football. Before it was like, you can't have pizza for the team on Thursday nights because my kids need to come home with supper with their family. And then, it just changes when you win a game or two, how many other supporters you have.
Yeah, that's actually crazy how the switch up is so fast. Like one right thing for your kid, and it's just like, wow.
The amount, like, how happy people are. Like, I know when imagine going 0-10 for the season.
I couldn't.
That
imagine.
would suck.
I probably would quit. Obviously, I shouldn't be playing at that point.
Exactly. Like,
I don't know.
there might be a reason you're losing all
Yeah,
those.
obviously. I mean,
But the switch up. Yeah. Everybody has seen Mia's mom cussing her out 24/7 after every game, like in front of everybody. So do you think that you and her parenting style is the same? Like, do you like to cuss Mia out? Do you like to cuss your other daughter and son out?
Yeah, it's a partnership in that relationship. We're both very intense, aggressive people, and we have a high expectation for our own children, whether that's athletics, academics, or just walking across the street. You're going to do it the right way, do it full speed, 100%. So when Maggie's going at her, I'm usually kind of reeling her back in. Or when I'm going at her, Maggie's reeling her back in. And we kind of feed off each other. Mia knows at the end of the day, good is not good enough. We expect you to be great in all facets of everything that she does, and all of our children do. So, Maggie didn't touch a basketball until about 4 years ago, sending passes to Mia. So a lot of Maggie's start in coaching came off of her repeating what I was saying. Then she started to understand the game, and that's when she became lethal.
it was so bad. He literally said, I don't do anything right. He literally said something about me walking down the street the wrong way. Like, even now, especially with my race, she's always like, you're limping. He's like, walk right, heel to toe. If I hear heel to toe one more time, like, I'm trying. I just had trauma on my knee, and he's like, heel to toe. Like, I can't focus. I was telling my mom this. I shouldn't have to focus on walking. Like,
that's true.
That shouldn't be my focus. She's like, no, you need to focus on walking. That's your goal. You need to not limp. I'm like, come on, like, you're yelling at me here too, walking across to the table and heel to toe. That's all I hear.
We just want what's best for you. We know what's best for you, and we know what all of our children have in the tank, and to leave it all out there no matter anything that they do.
And he said something about mom not touching a basketball. He's being 100% honest in that there's times where she gets to the free throw line. We're shooting free throws in the gym, and I'm like, what are you doing? She's trying to show me she can bank in threes. I'm like, he always gets up to the 3-point line. He starts swishing them. He thinks he's so good. It's like, what are you doing? We're here for me. Like, you think we were there for them. And then
Dude, the best part is, like, when we're at the gym working out or whatever, and Maggie gets frustrated. Maggie plays softball in college, right? So she can sling a rock. But when she gets mad at Mia, she gets that softball stance and slings the basketball.
Oh, I can imagine.
Then you know it's about to go down in the gym.
She throws it as hard as she can. And I can't even catch an attitude back because, like, I don't know what's going to come at me next. I'm like, what else is she going to throw at me? First off, I can't shoot because she's just going to throw it even harder the next time. It's just like,
no. I think that's so funny. And it's also good as parents to always set your child to a higher standard because you know what they're capable of. Like, you know their limits and how much they can be pushed.
Okay, so obviously I've had some interest in some of your players on your team. So how do you feel about me dating or, like, messing with players on your team?
I know who my players are, and I know the players that I'm comfortable with you dating,
I always
and
say
the
that. He
players
always
that
knows.
I'm not comfortable with you dating. And you know your boundaries, you know your limits of who that is, and we feel that we raised a good, strong woman, a young girl that's growing up, but to make great decisions, and we're comfortable with who you are. But at the end of the day, I'm the old ball coach, and I think some players are a little bit nervous about that when it comes to you.
Yeah, it's so bad. Literally, I'm like sitting there and they're like, "Oh, your dad's the coach." I'm like, "Okay." But
I'm
like,
aware.
what they don't understand is like, I don't think he really care. Like he said, he's comfortable with a lot of people, and
Yeah.
the people that he's not comfortable with, I wouldn't even try to go after anyways, because first off, he's not comfortable with them.
Yeah.
Second off, that makes them like not less attractive, but like me less attracted to them.
Oh,
If
I
your
just think
dad
it's
coached
funny.
hockey, would you go after one of his players, do you think?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Would
I
he be
mean,
fine
I
with it?
think people are really scared of my dad because he's this big, buff, 6'6" dude.
Yeah.
He's playing the NHL. Like, there's videos of him on the internet of him beating people up
Oh
on the
my
ice. So I think a lot of it's because he did used to coach hockey
Yeah.
for like my brother's grade,
Uh-huh.
and I think a lot of the kids were afraid to like talk to me,
But
and they're like,
it's
"Oh
so-
yeah, your dad's like Francois Leroux. Like I don't want to mess with you." I was like, "Oh okay, great."
It's so irritating. Sometimes I wish like you wouldn't coach these kids, because I'm like, it's so selfish of me, but I mean, come on, like you're ruining my reputation here. I'm like, no, can't do anything with him.
Nope.
Like my dad's
that
his
off the
coach,
list.
and they all say that your dad's my head coach. Okay, and
And
like he doesn't
literally.
care.
I think they're just scared that you're gonna go back to him, go back to your dad,
And
and
I
say
don't
stuff.
tell, like he's one person I don't tell. Like my mom, I tell her every detail of everything. She knows everything. He's one person I have to watch what I say around, because
Yep.
he is the head coach. So
Yep. What's the hardest thing about parenting Mia?
I say probably her stubbornness. She's
Yeah.
a product of her mom.
literally,
Her mom was always very independent, a strong woman, do everything herself. I don't
Yeah.
need anybody. She started working at an early age, got her own car, got her own job, got her own apartment and everything, and took on everything herself. And sometimes Mia feels that she knows everything, and she's very stubborn, and she don't like to listen to advice.
I think a lot of teenagers struggle with that because I know my parents are like, "You're such a know-it-all." Especially when I first started driving, I was like, "Oh yeah, I know everything already."
Yeah, like you don't need anyone to tell you anything. Yeah. But there, I remember like I tore my ACL, and it was before I had surgery. We bought a new makeup vanity, and my dad was like, watch your knee. And I was like, I'm fine. I just want to do it on my own. He came in and was like, let me help you. I was like, I don't want help. I just want to build my own makeup vanity. I want to do it
Yeah.
myself. I want to say that I built it. And he like got mad at me because I didn't want his help, but it was kind of funny. I was sitting there like trying to screw stuff in, and I was like, all right.
No, I leave all that stuff to my dad because
I wanted to do it myself though. Like I wanted to put I was so confident.
no,
I was like,
I
can do
painted my
this.
wall by myself. He
Yeah.
would never let me. He never lets me do any of that stuff because he like likes construction and that stuff, and so he
Yeah.
likes everything to be perfect in this way. And if it's not, he's like
That's
a
how-
perfectionist when it comes to that
That's
stuff.
how he is. He came in and like one of the drawers was like slightly off, and he like took the whole thing apart and put it back together because I didn't put it together the
But
right
it's like
way.
it's my project. Like let me work on it.
Yeah. What is the biggest difference between me, my brother, and my sister?
Well, I would say you are very about yourself,
All right.
whereas
Self-love.
McKenna is our like caring, loving, nurturing child.
Yeah, definitely.
And Marco is just mama's baby, he can't
my
do
gosh.
anything wrong.
That's like
it's
my
like
brother.
He's coddled,
Yep.
but definitely Mia is about herself and
That's so.
what can someone do for her, and McKenna is like, what can she do for you? You know what I mean?
That is like literally the most untrue thing. I feel like I'm not about myself at all. I do everything to help my brother and sister, especially my brother. Like I'll do anything for him. I agree with him. Everything else he said though, except that. Like I try to do anything for them. Like my brother, he'll be like, oh, can you do this for me? Can you put in this password for me or do this? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And my sister, she's like definitely the gift giver, definitely the caretaker, just like the angel of the family, kind of like. She buys gifts for everyone's on their birthday, where I'm like, I don't need to buy a gift for you, but
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
tell you
show
how
you
to-
through my actions.
Yeah, my
Just
love.
I'm
I'll show
not
you
really
all
like
my
a
love.
gift giving person.
But I don't think I'm all about myself. I don't know if other people see me that way. Hopefully not.
No, I don't
because-
see you. You're good.
But maybe I just act like that towards him. Like
Yeah.
maybe I just ask for everything and he's just like, eh. No.
Yeah, it's definitely different with your parents. like when you're at home versus when you're out in public. It's definitely a different atmosphere and you act way differently. Because I know I do. I'm gonna say, like, in the morning, I'm so mean. Like, I'm sorry, but like
Too.
I feel bad for my
so
mom and my brother.
McKenna's mean in the morning too, Dad. Tell me she's not.
Yeah, she's a crab.
He always tries to mess with her.
mean.
Like, not mess with her, but he'll be like, good morning. And she's like, Dad, shut up, get out. And she'll just like start, I'm like, you know it
So
too.
you know I'm going in the room, giving her a hug, tickling her.
It's so
A lot of the kids don't like to get up when they're supposed to.
And he
Oh,
always
yeah.
makes
And
it
I'm a big
worse.
like morning breakfast guy. Let's go
Big
get
morning
moving.
guy. Like, why do you have that much energy in the
No.
morning? We walk down the stairs and he's like screaming, singing.
No, that's
I'm
like my mom. She's like, "Good morning, Julia." I'm like, "Hi."
yeah, he's
Like, I'm so tired. Like,
same
don't
way.
talk to me until
He's-
10.
he will put on music in the morning. I'm like, what are we doing the music for?
I need
He's like,
silence. Like,
Alexa, play da 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 da. And I'm like, no, Alexa, stop.
Alexa.
Like, we're arguing in the
Enough.
morning. I just woke up. We're 10 minutes into the day. And
it
I'm
always
arguing
ends
with
in an
him.
argument. Every time I wake up before school, always ends in some type of argument about whether it's like me not speaking or me just coming in with a bad attitude.
It's one or the other. It's always your
It's
fault.
never happiness. Now it's time for JuJus rant of the day. Something I don't like is whenever people comment on what other people are eating. Like, I know me, I eat a lot, but that's because I have a fast metabolism. But there's always people saying, like, why are you eating so much? Like, aren't you gonna get fat? Like, how don't you gain weight? It's just the way my body works, and a bunch of other people's bodies work a different way. So it doesn't matter if you eat a little bit. Maybe you don't have an appetite. But nothing annoys me more is when you're commenting on what other people are eating. Worry about yourself and what you're eating and like the proteins that you're getting, because you never know what someone's battling with too. And it doesn't matter how much you eat, or obviously it does, but it's as long as you're being healthy. And it really bothers me when people talk about other people's bodies and just what they're eating and everything like that. And that's JuJus rant of the day.
Now it's time for Mia's advice of the day. My advice for today is that confidence breeds beauty. And by this, I mean how confident you are is going to make you think of your self-confidence, of how pretty you're going to look in the mirror when you look. So if your confidence is very low and you're listening to all the negative thoughts that are coming in on the outside and you're just really downing yourself, you're going to think that you don't look as good as you really look. Your self-confidence isn't going to be very high, your self-esteem. But when you had that confidence, you're blocking out all the noise, doing what you feel is right, doing what your body feels is right, then you're going to have that really pretty glowy look where you just feel yourself, everything's going your way and you're just going to be living your best life. And that's Mia's advice for today. Okay, guys, that's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to
It's Our Time podcast.
We want to give a big thanks to Coughlin's Law Kitchen and Brew Pub for sponsoring us and for letting us film our second episode here.
And also thank you to Gatorade for giving us so much merch. We really appreciate it.
And we also want to thank PPG Paints Arena. We are giving away Don Tolliver tickets coming very soon, big concert.
Yes.
And we're going to be doing a bunch more giveaways with them and with Gatorade and with a couple other people. So make sure you guys stay tuned.
Yeah, and also stay tuned for all of our videos on YouTube every Monday. And then follow us on all social media platforms.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Peace.
The woman of the world.